Okay, I've let these cure overnight, and they're fully cured, ready to be taken out of their mold boxes. So what I want to do first is get a new X-Acto blade to go onto my X-Acto knife. I always switch out my blades when getting ready to remove new molds, because you're going to be creating vents for your one-piece molds, and you need to make sure your blade is sharp. But we'll go over that here in a minute. First, let's go ahead and remove the Nostromo panel from this one-piece, or not the one-piece, but the open-face mold here. So what you want to do is take your X-Acto and go ahead and just cut on the seams in which each corner meets. Just like this. I hope this is in the shot. I'm trying to watch as I'm doing this. Okay, and just gently pull away. It should just pop right off. It's going to fight you sometimes. This is paper. It's mat board, but it is paper at the same time, so sometimes you might get something seek into a hole or something like that in the paper and cause it to stick. Alright, so we got the sides open. Now, when I do it when it opens up something this large, I'll usually just hold it here and just sort of pry up on the mat board paper gently, without stressing the sculpt that's inside. There we go. Comes right off. You'll notice that there's some seepage that went underneath. That's okay because it's very fine. So let's go ahead and just gently remove it. From the mold. This is going to be tricky because this whole piece right here is part of the mold, so you don't want to stress it and break it. First, let's go ahead and see if we can't bring it up this way. Because what I'm thinking is if I just give it enough pressure, again, be very, very gentle with this. And it is out of there. You'll notice that down the back, there's a lot of, another thing I use Super Sculpty for is to coat the back of my mold so it will stick down onto the mat board. And you can tell where the areas that I didn't put enough Super Sculpt because it seeped underneath. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I can clean that up here in a little bit. And then I'll archive that piece. And now I got a nice mold that needs to have the fringe of it cleaned, but there's no air holes in there. It's a nice heavy mold that will last for quite some time, actually. And usually you want to take your X-Acto knife and cut that stuff away. I'm just taking my hand, just breaking off the obvious areas. But yeah, turned out to be a nice mold. I'll clean it up real good, make sure the debris out of it and everything before I go ahead. So there it is right there in its raw version. I'll clean it up with an X-Acto knife and it'll look really great here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and set that to the side. Next, let's do a one-piece mold, one of the head sculpts. And I'm hoping that the one I'm going to choose is going to be Roy Batty, but I'm not sure because I got these guys mixed up. So the other one's going to either be Ash or Roy Batty, so we're going to find out. So you take your X-Acto and you do the same thing you did with the open face mold. Watch your fingers. You guys that use X-Acto knives all the time, we get used to it, we don't think about it, and boom, we cut ourselves. So we have to be careful. Right, just open gently each side, just like that. Remember where your F for front is facing. That's the side that you don't want to cut into. I'm going to show you why. Alright, so F's facing that way. I'll have it face away from me when I get ready to put this onto the surface. Alright, so put your mold box to the side. Alright, facing away. Now your face is over here. Let me move my hand out of the way. Your face is over here, facing away. And then you'll see your little sprue piece exposed. The little Super Sculpty that you made your sprue. First thing I do is I just go ahead and I try to remove the sprue the best I can from the mold. I guess you could just start cutting away, but I usually like to remove the sprue first so that I can sort of get an idea and make sure that it is facing the direction I'm planning, because I might have put the letter on the wrong panel and made a mistake. So I want to be able to look in and actually see which direction the hair is going. If it's going back to front or front to back, I know I'm probably facing the correct way. Alright, so it looks like everything's working correctly. It's facing the right way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a horizontal line across this direction here, this way. I'm going to cut down and around. And let me just go ahead and show you. So that's why you need a sharp blade. You got a master in there, and you've got to be careful not to cut into your master. And just gently start to pull it away, just a little bit at a time. It's okay if when you're cutting that it seems to pop and break away from your master inside. That's what you want. And if you cut it right and you positioned your head sculpt right before making your mold, you won't be cutting into the face, or hopefully not even into the ears, because you don't want your ears to get messed up if you have ears on your sculpt. Okay, so I've cut down enough. I've cut down, made 2 slits, as you can see. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove my master from inside. I didn't cut it in half, notice. That's why they call it a one piece. Gently, just sort of work your piece around, because what you're trying to do right now is free it from the neck joint that you've created. And I just heard it pop, and he's out. There's Roy. Da, da, da. He's free. Now you can examine the inside, and I don't know if you can see or not, but it is a clean mold. The eyes, the nose, the mouth. I'm looking into it, I'm sorry. You can't tell from the iPhone camera, but it is a clean mold in there. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make venting. And I'm going to start the venting slits from the bottom where his chin is, going up to each corner here on this mold. I hope you guys can tell what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead first. That's why you need your sharp blade. You want the vent to be very small and very tiny, because you don't want, when you make your casting, you don't want to cut away anything that might be vital to the form of your sculpt. Anything you remove from this will be replaced by casting material. So you want to make sure that the venting slits are very small and can just practically fall off when you pull your cast out from your mold. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. I'll make 2 small vents. Again, sharp blade. You need a sharp blade for this. And you gotta lean in. Make sure you know you're doing it right. There's 1. You only need 2, 1 on each side. Watch your fingers. I'm gonna turn it this way, so it'll probably be off screen for a second. Make sure I got that vent right. Double check your work before you're done to make sure you got it right. Always good to blow on it to make sure your debris is cleared. And there you got it. 2 vents. Now let me see if I can zoom in. See what I'm talking about? I had to pry it open just a little bit more. You see there's a couple air bubbles there in the actual meat of this mold, but it did not interact, thank goodness, with the mold itself, with actual form inside itself. So that's wonderful. 2 good venting holes, slits that have been cut, so it's ready to be cast. And the last thing I like to do is mark these. So let me close it up. I'll get out a permanent marker if I can find one. Here we go. What I want to do first is go ahead and name it, and I'll name it Roy. And this is I think this is my 3rd generation. I'll do it on both sides. And if you do enough of these, you're going to want to mark them Roy 3, just like a replicant. Alright, and then I'll mark 2 arrows on the top showing which way the face is facing, basically. The nose and the eyes and stuff. Because when I go to do the casting, I want to make sure that when I clear the air bubbles out of the cast, that I'm making sure that I'm focusing on the face first and everything else comes second. That will come in the casting tutorial. And there you go. That's it. That's how I make my molds. If you have any other way of doing it and you are comfortable with it, like I said again, go at it. If you got any questions, just let me know. You can drop me a line at my email. It's again, it's sith30@yahoo.com. SITH_FIRE30@yahoo.com. Or you can find me on my Facebook page. Just type in Sith30 Creations and drop me a question there. And I hope this helps you guys out. I know you guys have been asking me for a long time to do a tutorial. And it's nice to finally bring it to you. So I hope this helps you, and I look forward to seeing the progress you guys make as well. Alright, next up will be a casting tutorial. Thanks, guys.